Hey there, this is Scott Pearce, co-founder of ApprovIQ, here today to show you how we're going to manage our template library. Now, our template libraries, this is where we would create new projects from. Go to import. You can use a PDF if you do have PDF checklists and you want to get those items into ApprovIQ. Those items will then be pulled out and they'll all be listed here. And we can import from a past project. So if you've got a project that you feel like you did pretty well on, let's just pick this one here. So we can see that 11 items from this project are coming across, and we'll import those. And so this has been imported as a list. So let's call this knockdown rebuild. And there we go. So let's import some other let's try this one here. Imported from project, we'll call this one a class 2 renovation. Great. So we can see, so in the middle column here, these are our generic approval items. So you can see a warning here that this is linked to one active project because it's linked to knockdown rebuild because that is all class 2 renovation, because that is where it came in from. What we have in here is the application form, we have a description, we have a title. You can see that it's here in class 2 renovation. Knockdown rebuild, we don't have an application form. So what we're going to do is drag it across. It's now been added to knockdown rebuild. So that's the generic form. So let's say we want to click on knockdown rebuild. Now we can see that application form has a list specific description. So this description here is taken from the generic item. And if I was to edit that, it would edit this description for all, it would also edit it in class 2 renovation. So the idea here, and I'll just go back out, is this is the item in its generic form. You can see that it doesn't have a specific item. I'll go back in here again to demonstrate. Here we go. List specific description. So this is when it's attached just to this knockdown rebuild. Equally, I could go to class 2 renovation, click on application form there, and I could have a different description that is added for when we're in a class 2 renovation. So the idea is that you're dealing with all of these as generic. So this is when we're in the generic again. And I could create as many templates or approval lists, as we call them. I could generate as many approval lists as I wanted to, and then I can drag these across as they apply. But then in the specific instances, I can also edit them. So what we have here is we also have the ability to, let's just create a new item. Let's do that. Here we go, untitled item. Let's do a BCA report. Review of BCA or NCC as we call it these days. Review of NCC, that'll do. So this, I would actually add as a task. So what that means is that this is given to the approver and the co-approver. So the certifier or the building surveyor will receive this task. If it's an approval item, it will go to the applicant and their collaborators. So in this instance, it's a BCA report. I'm going to set it as a task because when I come in to do a class 2 renovation, at some point in that, I will want to do a BCA report, which we can see here. So list specific description, apply class 2 regulations. And if I go out again, we'll go back into the generic of the BCA report. We can filter the item here just so that I can find it quickly. There you go, you can see that there hasn't been any change to this description. So we'll go down some of the other item details, review round. Now this is essentially what we want private certifiers and building surveyors to do is to start instructing their clients what order they would like the items to be received in. So let's clear our filter here. Let's have a look at the knockdown rebuild. So we know that, so we know some of the items that we would want to see first in a knockdown rebuild. Untitled item, architectural plans. And in the review round here, we'll call that review round 1. Initial review. We probably also want, let's just click off that so it saves. Let's do a 10.7 because we're going to want a 10.7. Review round 1. Initial review. There we go. So we can see now that these have been given review round number 1, initial review. You can see here there's another review round CC1. So this is structured by alphabetically. So that being the number 1, it comes first on the list. Now, if we go to this knockdown rebuild, what we can start to see here is that that information is being passed to the client. So what we would say is that you need to structure everything in your checklist by the order that you want it to be received. So I'm going to put everything in review round 1, initial review, that I need before I'm going to pick up the application at all, right? So if a client hasn't submitted, and I've got 4 items in initial review and they've only submitted 3 and they're saying, hey, what's going on? Can you review this? It's a pretty simple turnaround and say, actually, no, you've got 1 item missing before we'll start the initial review. So that's an explanation of review round. We're actually talking about changing that to review sequence. Document checks, architectural plans. What revision are these plans? Add. So we've just added that to these to the architectural plans. Now, what the document checks are, or document queries, later on when you receive the architectural plans, all of these prompts, all these queries that you're adding here now, will be attached, and you'll be able to run AI against these questions. So it'll make a little bit more sense when you're in the project review. Right now, we're mostly talking about this approval list library, but the simple answer is that if you know that there are questions that you're going to have about the architectural plans, this is where you set them. Attached documents. Let's say we've got an application form. If you have an application form that you want people to fill out, I'll just upload that. Then you can attach it here. And every time that this gets sent out, every time that you create a project with an application form, then this will also be sent out with it. And we can see here at the bottom what lists these items are actually included in. Okay, so I've now shown you how to create the approval lists for your projects. So to create a new project, then we'll click on create new project from your dashboard, and we'll go choosable. I'm going to have to put in some project names. I'll just choose some from previous projects. I'm going to choose a template, go continue. And you can see here that the class 2 renovation and the knockdown rebuild are there ready to go. So I'm going to choose knockdown rebuild, and then you can start to see what checklist items are, or approval items as we call it. So you can see what approval items are in this application. Use the template. Great. If you need to add specific items, you can go add an item and you can write them in there. We'll get rid of that one. There you go, good to go. Click continue and we're on our way. Invite your applicant, click continue again. And there you go, that's how to create some new templates in your approval list library and then create a new project from those lists. Thanks very much for following along today. We'll see you very soon.